Tramps like us, baby, we were born to run. I actually had a song that worked this time. I'm just gonna talk a little bit from my messy pile of pillows. So this week I started running again. I got back into it. I think the last time I ran was in July, and as with everything in my life, it's so much more complicated than just deciding to run again. And I just wanted to talk about that a little bit, about where I came from and where I hope to go with this. So, when I started running years ago, oh, here we go. I'm going to admit it. It was 100% an eating disorder behavior. It was called I didn't think I was burning enough calories and wanted to burn more calories because I didn't think I was doing enough with ballet and weightlifting and Irish dance and walking a ton because I didn't have a car. Like, I did all of those often on often all those on the same day, and thought that that wasn't enough. And at the same time, that was when I got a Fitbit, and so that was rewarding those hyperactivity behaviors and making me feel like I wasn't burning enough calories. And so then that's where that started, and it morphed into this thing where at my peak I was running half marathons, and that's not that there's anything wrong with that, and that's not, I don't know, I lost my train of thought. Like I said, it's complicated, so it's very difficult to try to track this train of thought and keep it on the rails, but I'm going to try. But then it got into this complicated thing where that was the motivation with why I started and why I kept going and why I wanted to do more and more and more. But at the same time, sometimes I did actually enjoy running. Like, every race day experience I've loved. And then living in Atlanta and doing the Peachtree Road Race every year, it's just like a wonderful tradition. For those of you who either don't know about it or aren't in Atlanta, it's July 4th. It is, I believe, the world's largest 10K, and it's I looked up the number so I could actually say what it is, but I want to say 70,000 people. And if you think that sounds absolutely absurd, it's that's not an exaggeration. That's not an exaggerated estimate. That's like, I know it's over 50 grand people all running through the same 6 mile stretch, and it's on July 4th, and it's just this wonderful experience going down the busiest road in Atlanta, and the energy that's there, like, and it's like a big party. So that I've always had fun with. I had so much fun with the half marathon. It was just like the training and the intensity I had with it and the stress I had in it, and just the fact that what kept me going was wanting to burn more calories. And so then there's that. There's like, then there were some times when I actually just enjoyed going out and being out in the sunshine, but then, the brutality of training, because in case you haven't guessed, I was very overtrained and very underfueled, and that just led to a bad situation. And so I haven't run since July, but then there was a good long stretch there when I was trying to figure out how much of it I actually liked running and how much of it I actually just wanted to be more active. And it's basically how the timeline went. As there was the chunk when I was restricting and overtraining, and then there was a chunk, maybe I think it was like in the fall of 2016, because DragonCon of 2016 was kind of when I realized how sick I was. And so from around the fall of 2016, I started working on the intake side of things, and trying to fuel myself more properly. And even though I was doing all of that, I didn't cut back on activity at all. I still managed to put on some weight, which I needed, but then I couldn't let go of that, and I had every justification in my mind other than admitting that that was part of my problem. I was like, oh well, I love this, and like I'm not doing it to control my weight. I'm doing it to keep up my fitness, and I can't back down from that, even though most of my waking hours were spent doing some kind of activity, even though I was morphed into this person that was so plugged into my numbers. I had my numbers for like my heart rate, for my calories burned, for my steps, for everything, and everything had to be perfect and everything had to be better. And even though I was in so much pain, my lower body was destroyed. I had pain in my hips and my knees and my shins, and my feet were just torn to shreds. Part of that I was a little bit used to from dance, but it was just like it was torn to shreds and it had no chance to heal. You know, toenails falling off and turning black, blood blisters, every pain in every step I took, but just that there. But still kept pushing on, and then I think that went on until like the spring of 2017, which was when I ran a half marathon. And I think it was after that, and I realized that even though I loved the experience of running a half marathon, and I realized how much I was running myself down into the ground, and then took a break from running, but still did some dancing and weightlifting, and then cut back. But then I was still so pride and ego, so interested in running Peachtree again. So I did like minimal training for Peachtree, and then that was the end of that. But it's such a big experience for me that I decided to do it again and get back into minimal training. So it's at July 4th, and it's April's closing down now, so I might not be able to run the whole thing. I might do like half walking and half running or whatever, or maybe just all walking, but I know I can walk it. I know I've walked further than that, just getting right out of bed in the morning. So I'll be finishing it, but it's been a humbling experience, to go from having trained up to something to just starting back at zero. And what I realized in all of this is that I need to keep running more of a seasonal thing, so like a spring summer thing, and just do Peachtree, and maybe that'll be it. Because I realized this year, with not trying to keep up with running like through Oireachtas and through when I'm doing more dance competitions, that it's actually benefited me a lot to not have that extra thing, A, taking up my time, and B, taking up my energy and all that. And I also realized if I'm running, especially if I were to ever do another half marathon, which I won't say that it's off the plate forever, and I won't, or if I ever were to run a full marathon, which is on my bucket list, it's just one, which that's pure ego, but I realized I need to have something more to it just than the run. Either like a destination marathon, like a Disney, or doing something to raise money for a cause, or like Peachtree, where it's a party, it's a tradition. Like you go and you run, and you go to the park and hang out and all that. Get your downhill donut. I'm not kidding. There are people handing out downhill donuts every year. Or to have training with a friend, and not have it be about this goals and this grind, because that was not good for me. But we're trying it again. I think it was at a good place. Did something huge. It was supposed to do another little run, but I skipped it because I was so run down from my week of filming overnights that I was like, yeah, my body needs sleep more than it needs 30 minutes of activity. So, God, never could have done that a year ago. Never could have even thought about that. So that's where I'm coming at. And that's it for tonight. And I hope you all have fun and stay safe. And the next time you see me, I might have a crazy haircut. It's for another movie. I don't know what they're doing to me. I told them they could do anything, so hopefully it won't look too goofy. But I need a haircut anyway, so I'm just looking at it as like they're paying me to get a haircut that I would have paid for myself. So whatever it is, it's a free haircut. And that's all. Bye now.